Welcome to Oklahoma City. I know you're not exactly new to the organization, but what has it been like coming back to the city and walking into this building?
Yeah, it's been nice. Some good memories. Obviously, this is like you said, where I started my professional career. So many familiar faces. The continuity of the organization has been great, and I think that'll really help me just ease back into it. Get to know the teammates. The facility's still the same, so I know where everything's at. Just really excited to be here.
From playing against this team over the course of your career, what's been your perspective of the growth and the trajectory of this team as of late?
Yeah, obviously really young, and obviously they've grown up a little bit now, but super competitive. Everything that I've heard from people within the organization is tight knit group that wants to have success and cares about each other, pushes each other, and that seems to be a team that I think I can fit into.
Alex, where were you when you got the news, and just what was your immediate sort of reaction?
I was at home in Austin. That's where I spend the off season. I was just at home. I was actually like 5 or 10 minutes away from changing and going hitting golf balls at the driving range. So I delayed my practice session for the day by a couple hours. But yeah, I got the call from AK, and then Sam called me shortly after, and just kind of took it all in stride. Had a lot of texts and FaceTimes and calls to answer from teammates, friends, family. Just trying to process it all of them obviously wish me the best and were happy for me, and from then just try to digest everything and figure out how it's going to look.
Any idea this is going to happen this coming year, or that you want me to move? Period.
Not 100%. There's been rumors of me being traded for the last couple of years around the trade deadline, so I've kind of just gotten used to it. In one year out the other. Was a bit of a surprise to me the day it did happen. Usually stuff like that happens, centered around the draft and something like that. So caught a little off guard, but at the end of the day, that's professional sports. You take everything in stride and do the best you can.
How does your game suit the Thunder?
Yeah, I think the things that I do well complement the team. Team first guy. I just want to win. That's the biggest thing. Super competitive. Will sacrifice for the teammates. Obviously, I think I had a good year individually last year. Shot the ball well, had another good defensive year, took care of the ball mostly. So I think all of those things are things that affect winning and positively affect your teammates. So I think that's something that, I think everyone will benefit from.
People talk about winning a championship. You've done that with the Lakers. What does that mean? What can you bring to a young team? Well, you're 30. You're one of the older guys on the team now.
Yeah, saying that out loud is a lot easier than doing it. There's a lot that goes into that, and I think, showing up every day, going to work is the biggest thing. Learning from some of the older guys, LeBron, Rondo, Danny Green, just to name a few that I played with. Seeing them come in every day, having the habits, having the rituals, being super competitive. A lot of the things that I think, the Thunder stand for, things that I think that I stand for. So hopefully that's, the perfect marriage that everyone says it will be, and hopefully we can find success together.
You were at the Blue. You had Mark as your coach, and then Cam Woods was a teammate. You have any things that stood out about those two in particular? Any stories about those guys?
Yeah, a handful of people, two handfuls of people that were with the Blue, or at least in the OKC organization, that are still here, that have helped me get started and then get back to this spot. Mark, I was smiling ear to ear talking to him on the phone just because I was excited to get to play for him again. He told me, don't be a smartass, and I told him I can't wait for him to cuss me out the first practice when I mess something up. So we'll hit the ground running, and it'll be great, just like it always is. Both of us, though, a lot of growth from when we first started together. I think there's a lot of positives and a lot of learning experiences that we both can take from those years and hopefully come together and look for more in the future.
Alex, I'm wondering if you could go back to that year you spent with the Blue. And, obviously you've come a long way since then, but do you think a year in the G League changes who you are or has impacted who you are as an NBA player?
Yeah, that and then my two-way years in LA, just having to really get it out of the mud. You hear that expression a lot, and sometimes this may not always be true, but for me, undrafted, there's a story I don't think a lot of people know. There was a week span before I came to the Blue into training camp where I thought I was going to play in Poland. A couple of days later, I talked to a coach of a team in Germany. and then OKC called, the Blue called, and I came up here, took a physical, took a tour of the practice facility, and then started my journey here. So to go from that, playing a full 50 games with the Blue that first year, going to 3 summer leagues, it just it just taught me what I needed to do to get to the level that I wanted to play at. And countless hours, a lot of help, a lot of self-belief. A lot of those things are things you need to turn a career from undrafted to the G League to, being in the NBA.
Did you have the ticket to go to Germany? Like, were you that close?
No, I didn't have the ticket. I just talked to the coach on the phone, but okay. I didn't know what I was going to do. I truly didn't. And coming to OKC, just decided if I was going to try and play in the NBA, I needed to get my foot in the door, and probably the best place I could have done that.
Was there ever a point along the way where you thought, like you said, 3 summer leagues, like, is this going to happen? Like, was there ever a moment of that for you, or did you just always believe that it was going to come to fruition?
A little bit of both. There's, I'd be lying if I didn't say there weren't days where you feel a little down and the weight or the pressure of getting it done doesn't bear on you. But I'm a really competitive guy, and I think I'm the most competitive with myself. Like, I think I push myself and have high expectations for what I expect myself to bring and how I expect to work. And then ultimately, I really do just expect to find a way to get it done. That's just something that I was blessed with. I don't know if I curated that from high school, college, younger, but that's something that to my DNA, I expect to get the job done, whatever it is.
Alex, you just mentioned how tight-knit this group appeared from the outside. Obviously, it's mostly made up of young 20-somethings. You instantly become the vet here. Just how internally are you approaching, trying to fit into that younger group?
Yeah, I mean, just taking it, I've said this a lot, but just taking it in stride. I think I'm a good teammate. I put the others first. I think that's something that goes a long way in this organization and that they do themselves. So just showing up and being there for the teammates, pushing them to maybe levels they didn't know. Hopefully they can push me too. And it's just, iron and sharpen iron, and hopefully we can find some success from there.
You knew Mark before most of these guys were drafted. You got to have a different relationship than most of them will have. What are the things that kind of stood out to you about him then, and then how much of that has been reassured over the years that you've been watching him from afar?
Yeah, it's funny because he still has the same personality and demeanor on the sideline when I was playing against him in the games that he did when I was playing for him with the Blue. Just quiet, very observant. Doesn't always I'm sure he's got a few texts now that he's head ball coach and has to stand up for his guys a little more, but just puts the players first. He's a good leader. I think he knows what it takes to lead, and he lays out the expectations for the team really well. And I think when you have a young team like the Thunder do, like we do, you take those expectations, and those guys will run through a wall for a coach that believes them and trusts them. I think those are some qualities that easily define Mark.
You made all defenses last 2 years. What makes a good defensive player? Is it a personal thing about you? Personal pride in that, physical stature? What makes you a good defensive player?
Yeah, a little bit of all that. Obviously, physically, you got to be able to compete with the best athletes in the world. You got to be smart. You got to be disciplined. You got to be hungry. You got to be competitive. And at the end of the day, you got to have a little bit of amnesia because guys are going to score. You all watched SGA play for the last couple of years. Best defenders in the world. You can play the best defense you want, but sometimes the offense is just going to make shots. So just being ready for the next play.
As a guy who takes so much pride defensively, and you look how good this team has been defensively this year, all the talent defensively like Lou and Chet, how excited are you to be a part of that now?
Yeah, really excited. I looked up some highlights on YouTube the other day of them playing defense just to kind of get myself in that kind of headspace because I was excited for it. But, I mean, long, athletic, competitive, tough, those are all things, that we just described as, all defensive caliber players, good defensive teams, and they have a lot of that. They got rim protection, they got active hands, guys that are willing to, sacrifice for the team. Those are all things that are important. I'm excited to add to that.
With that, just what are some of the most stark differences you maybe see systematically in terms of, the defense in Chicago or the defense here, what you might be allowed to do with guys like Chet and Lou?
Yeah, I mean, I just know that I'm not going to be the main focus every night. defensively. Like, I think in Chicago, everyone had me number one on the radar for the defensive game plan, and I think with Lou, with Chet, like, those are guys that you have to account for. So however you want to do it, right? If you want to put me at the top of the list and overlook them, they're going to take advantage of it. If you want to put them at the top of the list and overlook me, I'm going to take advantage of it. So just the versatility, I think that those guys bring. And like I said, they're young, they're hungry. Like, that's something that I look forward to being a part of.
Alex, when did you know that defense was going to be your calling card? I mean, I'm sure at Consolidated High School, like you offensively scored, A&M the same way. Like, when did you realize as an NBA guy that defense was going to be it for you?
Probably when they didn't draft me, and I had to figure out a way to get on the court. That was the big thing. Just figure a way to get on the court. Take my 6 minutes, turn it into 8, turn it into 10, turn it into 12. And that's kind of what I did when I got to LA and I got on the two-way. Trial and error. Luke Walton gave me a great opportunity and threw me in the fire a couple times. And sometimes I failed and sometimes I had success. But, the times that I failed, I learned from it and I figured out what I needed to do better. And one of those things was, if I could be if I could be relied on defense and not be a liability, I could earn myself some minutes and then to kind of figure out on offense. And I think I've done that now, and to where I'm, pretty much assured of myself on both ends.
Was there anybody in LA, either teammate-wise or coach-wise, that sort of helped to show you the way or just kind of lead you into that space of really being a defensive guy?
I don't know if there was one in particular. I think it's just being around greatness. And then I had, obviously numerous Hall of Famers on the championship team. And then even before that, getting to play around, Lonzo a little bit when he was first there. Being around Bron obviously makes everybody better. Danny Green, some of the best hands in the game when he was still playing. And then I think I had a really good mentor in Kobe Carl, who's my head coach in South Bay, and he gave me great perspective at times on, who I was as a player and what I needed to do to try and improve and to be a valuable asset. So him and the whole South Bay organization really did a good job of helping me learn. But yeah, just being around greatness, and then like I said earlier, just learning from failure.
Any memories stand out playing for Billy and the Bulls?
Yeah, I love playing my 3 years with Billy. He's a great coach. Me and him had some really good conversations, and another full circle moment where I was the first guy cut in his office over there, and he talked to me and said, "I think you can be an NBA player if you work on your shot and work on your body and stay healthy." And those are the things I've done. And it's funny enough that he was my coach for the last 3 years. I made 2 all-defensive teams and have some good personal years. So great memories. I'm not going to lose those relationships, even though I've left Chicago. I've made great relationships over 3 years with people in the city, Chicago itself, and then obviously teammates and coaches.
Obviously, that team that won a championship with the Lakers, obviously a completely different makeup, different build from this team. But some of that championship DNA, like, what are some of the maybe components you see that are in this thing as it tries to track toward a championship?
You got to be ambitious. Only one team's happy at the end of the year every year. The other 29 got to go back to the drawing board. So I know Mark, I know Sam from the outside looking in. I know what the guys stand for. It's about showing up and going to work every day. If you want to be great, you got to be great every day. You can't just turn it on April 16th, 17th, whatever the date is for the playoffs to start. So it's just got to become an everyday thing, kind of a lifestyle more so than, what does it look like written on the wall, in shiny letters.
Have you had the chance to talk to any of your new teammates about sort of what's going on, just greeting them?
I met Jalen, tall Jalen today. Jay Will, I met him, and then Shea reached out and texted me and said he's excited to have me, and I complimented me, and I obviously showered him with the praise back because he's a really good player. Told him we were excited to get going and just ready for the opportunity to play alongside him.
I was just obviously in recent days since the trade. That story you told once on JJ's pod, the old man and the three, about Sam sitting in Sioux Falls and answering questions.
Mm-hmm.
Just that core memory. Like, how often do you think back to that? Have you talked with him about that since then?
Yeah, it was weird. We had lunch today, and I thought about it when I was sitting down at the table talking to him today. Ironically enough, I haven't. I'll bring it up to him next time I see him, and we'll talk about it. But there's just his immeasurable value in him doing that, and I think that just goes to show the person he is, the leader he is. Why the Thunder have found success with his tenure around the organization. He checks boxes, he dots I's, crosses T's. Like, he makes sure that he invests his time and his sweat equity into the organization, and that's somebody you'll go to battle with.
Your dad played for Eddie Sutton. What
Yeah,
have you heard about Eddie over the years?
Eddie was. I didn't hear a lot. I did hear that practices were tough. There were a lot of cuss words, and they were going to play defense. He told me there was a couple of practices where they didn't have balls. He just rolled the basketballs into the hallway. It's like, you're dating yourself with that. I don't think anybody's getting away with that nowadays.
There were shoulder pads and helmets at Oklahoma State one time.
Yeah, I was a kid. I was ball boy for A&M when they had that practice. I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Well, you spent a lot of, some time in Oklahoma City. A lot has changed since 2016. But what's something that you're just looking forward to, like off the court, just in Oklahoma City?
I think just getting to see the city a little bit more, getting to know the community better, because I think my first tenure here was so quick, and I was pretty tunnel visioned at the time. Like, I was pretty dead set on, like, anything besides basketball is not really happening. So I might have gone to like a Cinemark once and just hung out with my teammates at the house. But really getting to know the community, see some of it some more, find some places to eat that are to my liking.
Are you going to be able to watch any of the College World Series game?
Yeah. I'm supposed to go to dinner with Mark tonight, so I'm gonna be checking my phone in between that. But yeah, we're hoping our Aggies can pull it out.
You're ending the last year of your deal. Is this, when you think about that, is this a place where you could see yourself for a long time?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, that's I think that conversation's for another place and time. But I know what Oklahoma City as an organization stands for. I can obviously tell that they've done a good job of bringing together a good team. So possibly, but I think for now I'd like to just meet my teammates and get to work before we talk about any of that.